Can we get back to where we used to be? Do we all feel the same? It's just a dream. Can we all laugh again before we're gone?
Ladies and gentlemen, live from East Lake, Ohio, right across the street from Lake Erie Captain Stadium, it's the Cleveland Sports 360 show with your host, LG. Tonight, LG's guest, Christine Slomberg of Slomberg Charitable Foundation and Joe Monaco. Without further ado, get your ears ready and get your eyes ready, because here is your boy, LG.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Cleveland Sports 360 show, coming at you live from StreamingSportsTalk.com studios, right across the street from the Lake County Captain Stadium. And this summer, it's going to be some big explosions. I want to welcome to the show tonight our guests, Christine Slomberg from Slomberg Charitable Foundations. We're going to get into that a little bit further into the show. Joe Monaco, all the way from Memphis. Remember that tune, man? It was, who did it? All the way from Memphis. I can't even remember the name of the band. Mata Hoople. Mata Hoople. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Joe's from the Cleveland, Ohio area. He moved down to Memphis to take up looking for a drumming job, and he's doing well down there. He's making, he's surviving. Joe's a great Christian. He came here tonight to share his knowledge of the Cleveland sporting teams that he's followed wholeheartedly. And Joe writes an article every once in a while for the Cleveland Sports 360 website. So don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, get on that website, check out those articles, and let's see what you think of this year's Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Indians, and the Cavaliers. Joe, I'm really excited about the Cavs this season. Christine actually knows a little bit about the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm sure. Yes, and these guys, they look like they can do something this year, God willing, and let's say they all stay healthy, Joe.
I agree, LG. I think they could snap a 8 spot, 7 spot if things are going good. But I think right now they're just having problems a little bit right now with their bench. It seems to me that their rotations on the second teams and the third people that come in behind are just not in fluid motion right now. But I believe, though, I think that Byron Scott will have that shored up when we get Zeller back, and we'll see what's going on with that. But I do believe, though, they could surprise up on some people this year.
Well, Joe, getting your face broke in the fourth game or so. Now, Christine, were you with the Cavs when Omar Caspi came into the team?
No.
You were not?
No.
Okay, good. Because I really don't understand the connection with this Omar Caspi, Joe. I mean, this guy, you talk about getting some production off the bench. I say Caspi has to go, man. Why we kept him and brought him back again this year, it's a mystery to me. I'm not sure what the deal is with Caspi, but he's not a giant contributor coming off the bench for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And as you noted, the Cleveland Cavs bench definitely needs a guy that can come in there and hit and hit and hit. And I was a little bit impressed with Zeller, man, until he got injured. And being a rookie, he's a guy that looks like he's going to be able to connect. And let's hope this injury doesn't set him back too far. And once the mask is fit, he can come back and play the kind of basketball he was playing before he went down.
I agree, LG. I believe, I know we got Caspi last year in the J.J. Hickson trade. I think the big thing on that trade was the first-round draft pick. I think that's what they were gleaming over, and they were hoping that, at least Caspi could be a good backup. But he has been not clicking on all 8 cylinders, and I tell you what, anything other than the first-round draft pick, I would love to have J.J. Hickson back in this lineup.
In a heartbeat, man. I mean, Christine, you're familiar with Hickson, right?
Yes, very much so.
What'd you think of him?
Oh, he was wonderful.
You got to pretend you're a rapper and talk right into those microphones. Otherwise, the people out there, they might have a hard time hearing you. Ladies and gentlemen, for you that don't know Christine Slomberg, I want you to really get to know her. She runs a great charitable organization. We're going to get into that. We're going to take a break at 7:15 like we always do. When we come back, we're going to dedicate the second quarter of the show to the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. We're going to fill you in on that. But Christine also worked for the Cleveland Cavaliers for a few years, and she is familiar with some of the players. So were you sorry to see Hickson go?
I was, very, very much so.
And what did you think about it when they got rid of him? You felt that this was a mistake?
I pleading the fifth on that one.
Now, you were up a little higher on the food chain than the normal person that works for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Did you ever have a chance to sit down and talk to Dan Gilbert?
I met him a few times.
And what kind of guy was he? I mean, what was your impression of Mr. Gilbert?
Oh, he is phenomenal. He made you feel so much part of his world and so much part of his family. And I mean, it was just a tremendous organization to work for. And he was just an all-around wonderful, wonderful guy.
Now, did you meet him before the LeBron deal, or did you meet him after the LeBron deal?
Before.
So was he a different kind of guy when LeBron left Cleveland than he was before he left, or did you notice any kind of difference in Dan Gilbert's demeanor?
I did not talk to him after that.
See that? He wouldn't even show his face.
No,
He was,
no.
I'm teasing
Dan is
you.
wonderful.
I'm
He is
teasing you.
tremendous.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's done a lot for the
Yes,
city
he
of
has.
Cleveland.
Yep.
And I have to be, I'm telling you, with the Cleveland Browns playing the way they're playing and the Cavs playing the way they're going with this young team, some young talent, you got to be impressed with Dion Waiters so far, Joe.
I tell you what, LG, I on that night when I read up the week before the draft and seeing who was lining up, and it was a bit of a reach when Chris Grant and the Cavaliers organization had gone ahead and picked him. But there were a lot of scouts that said afterwards that he may be in a sleeper in the draft. They were comparing him to a little bit like of shades of Dwayne Wade.
Well, I got to tell you, Kenyon Johnson had Austin Carr on Unsportsmanlike Conduct here at StreamingSportsTalk.com before the draft. And what I was excited to hear come out of Austin Carr's mouth was he thought Dion Waiters was the kind of player that could come into the Cavs organization and bring that attitude that so many of these NBA guys have. Because there's a lot more that goes on the basketball court than just going out there and making baskets, man. If you have the right attitude where you can bring an intimidation factor down the court with you, it's certainly going to help. And I think we're just starting to see Waiters. Obviously he's a rookie. He's got a long way to go, and he's going to become more consistent. But I'm liking what he did so far, Joe.
I agree, LG. I think that when you look at him and you look at the guards on the other side with Kyrie, they can penetrate now, and as well as penetrate up to the hoop, they can also shoot the three, and they're both deadly. When they're on, I mean, the other night when they played against, I believe it was the game last week. I can't remember which game it was, but you could see a little bit with Waiters scored 28 and Kyrie scored 23. Both of them were penetrating, and it's great to have that instead of like trying to take a desperation shot in a half-court game. Both those guys can push the ball up the court and are a factor. And I tell you what, I think the Cavaliers are going to hit a home run with Waiters on the other side.
I'll tell you right now, man, we were in every contest so far except the Chicago Bulls game. That's the only blowout the Cavs really took. They lost by 2 points Friday night. Kyrie took a buzzer shot for a three going to win the game. If he would have penetrated the key and got it in and slammed it down, man, we would have at least tied the game. We could have went into overtime, and the way Kyrie was playing. Now, Christine, did you get a chance to meet Kyrie Irving, or were you already out of the organization by then?
I was able to be at his press conference.
And what'd you think of this kid, man? I mean, 19 years old, he comes into the NBA.
Very professional. Unbelievable. He handled himself with such grace and professionalism. It was really, really neat to see.
Well beyond the 19 years.
Yes, very, very much so.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, he does present himself that way. But I'm excited. I'm thinking that these Cavs are going to do something, Joe, and they're going to, as much as I hate to say this, we may have a winning franchise in Cleveland, and it's not going to be the Cleveland Browns. It's not going to be the Cleveland Indians in 2012. It's already history. We know that. It could potentially be the Cleveland Cavaliers will have a winning record at the end of this year if Byron Scott can just, like you said, get the bench motivated. They got to come in. They got to shoot on all cylinders. I'm liking Boobie Gibson's return, too, if he can stay healthy. Verasia has been doing a phenomenal job lately. He gets out there, man. He's 23 rebounds one night. I mean, 2 years of injuries, and then when we saw him bruise his knee in the other game, and he missed a game this year, it puts you in a kind of a panic mode. What did you think of Verasia, Christine?
Oh, the wild thing?
Yeah, Andy. Did you like him? Did you have a crush on him?
No.
Every woman I know goes, "Oh, look how cute he is." It's because of that hair. They all
It is
say
because of the hair.
it is.
It is.
It's that. I mean, you had to have women that said, "Oh, he's so cute,"
Oh,
right?
yes. There's a lot of women that wore his jersey. Yes, very much
Because they
so.
like that hair. And Kenyon said it before. If he cuts the hair, he's going to lose his fan club, man. I'm surprised we haven't even heard a peep out of Kenyon. Kenyon, you alive back there, buddy?
Yes, sir. You know,
man.
I'm enjoying the discussion, man. I'm enjoying the discussion. I'm listening to everyone talk about Deion Waiters, who plays absolutely no defense. So I'm keeping it to myself.
Do you think it's going to come, though? I mean, do you think it's going to come? He's a rookie, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, for him to be able to score a defense, that means that's going to take away from his offensive game. So I don't know. He's a young kid. If it was up to me, I still would have took Harrison Barnes. But hey.
Well, I would have, I mean, there's no doubt we could have took him, but we didn't. So we got to stick with what we got. And I wrote an article the other day. There's two things missing on the Cavaliers team right now. One is defense, and the other one was, the motivation factor of getting these guys to play the entire game.
There's absolutely one thing missing on the Cavaliers. That's LeBron James.
Well, next year, Kenyon, you'll get your wish when LeBron's contract runs out. We did a live broadcast at a pool playing tournament, and I got in an argument out in the parking lot with about 20 guys that, they said, "Do you think LeBron will ever come back to Cleveland?" I said, "Absolutely, 100% yes." They said, "Do you think Dan Gilbert will take LeBron back into Cleveland?" I says, "Yes." And then I said, "I guarantee you the fans will jump right back on the bandwagon that they were on before LeBron left to go to Miami Heat."
I always thought about that. I mean, I'll tell you what, LG, when he first got to the Heat in the first couple of years, he just couldn't get deep in the playoffs until they won the championship last year. But I mean, as those years were going on, those short years, I think that he regretted what he overall did, and as we did to us, our fans. But
it's just the way that he did it. I mean, it was a business decision.
Yeah, he's a free agent. He was allowed to leave.
Everybody that what really breaks my heart about the Cleveland area, and I had a bunch of pros on my show from the NFL. Oh, geez, maybe back last August or something when I had Ty Law, Levon Kirtland from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ty Law from the Broncos. I had Blaine Bishop from the team that moved to Tennessee. I mean, Tony Dorsett's kid, Anthony Dorsett. The Cleveland free agent market. People go, why didn't the Browns go out and get a free agent? Well, as Kenyon thought back then, and we asked the question on the phone with those four professionals, free agents don't want to come to Cleveland, man. And it's really sad because Cleveland is on the rebound. We're getting this medical mart. We're going to be a good convention city. You certainly do a lot of good things for the city of Cleveland. They should just come here to see you, Christine.
I think they should.
Yeah. And you need an event, you get to Christine. She can plan it for you. But really, in all reality, the Browns were just voted the worst franchise in the entire NFL to play for. So how are you going to get a free agent guy, Joe, when your team has a reputation like that, man?
I'll tell you what, LG. I mean, you could look at, Randy Lerner. I mean, he seems like his concentrated efforts were more on his soccer team, Aston Villa, than it was the Browns. I think he was pretty much handed to him because when his father passed away, it was just given to him, and it looked like he didn't want to have no interest. So, I mean, the front office, unstable, all through the 99 when they came back. Until now, with the Holmgren at least, it brought a little bit of stability for him in that short time. But getting back to that question, for the Browns anyways, they're going to have – I'm really excited about Jimmy Haslam coming in as an owner.
And you living in Tennessee now. Haslam's from Tennessee.
Knoxville area, and he's been running a successful business. His family has, and he's always been involved with the Tennessee Volunteers college team, and they tried to get Gruden there at one point. He tried to get Gruden down there to try to see if he was interested in coaching that team. So maybe you can strike lightning here and get John Gruden to come here.
Well, I got to tell you, right there, we're going to stop for a second because John Gruden is definitely not coming to Cleveland, Ohio. John Gruden has expressed interest in returning to the NFL as a coach, and none of the teams he mentioned included the Cleveland Browns. It just goes to show you the Cleveland Browns franchise sucks as a franchise. I hate to say it. Al Lerner, you could say what you want to say about Al and Carmen Policy. If Al Lerner didn't die from brain tumor, brain cancer, he would still be here, and the Browns would be a winning franchise. It's totally correct. Randy Lerner inherited a team he never really wanted anything to do with. I don't think he physically understands the game of NFL football. He didn't get involved. He brought Mike Holmgren in, and we're going to take a break coming up here in a second, and we'll just touch on Mike Holmgren a little bit when we come back, and we'll talk about Brandon Whedon for about 30 seconds, and we're going to get into the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. We're going to tell you what's going on with that, folks, with the holiday season fast approaching, and it couldn't have worked out any better to have Joe Monaco here with us tonight. You'll find out why when we come back with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show right here on StreamingSportsTalk.com. Any questions, give us a call, 216-672-4300. We'll be right back.
The skies were clear, but now they're falling. Coming unwound. Try everything, you'll never clip our wings above the clouds. The sky is blue, the sun is shining down on you. Heaven knows where we've been, but we can fly. We will live forever, and all I see is blue. Me and you, me and you. Upward bound, our earthly cares are slowly melting. Sight and sound, the speed of light is what we're traveling. Above the clouds, the sky is blue, the sun is shining down on you. Heaven knows where we've been.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Our in-house guests this evening include Christine Slomberg from the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. Joe Monaco, all the way from Memphis, came up to take part in this week's Cleveland Sports 360 show, as well as visiting the people he left behind to go down and pursue a drumming career in Memphis, Tennessee, man. So how's the Browns viewed when you're sitting in Tennessee, Joe, and you go, I'm a Browns fan? What do people say? Are you crazy or what?
They say you're a diehard fan because win or lose, they see that we follow our team. I mean, I tell you, over in that area, Nashville area down there, the Titans are right downtown, and that's their team. It's great to see, being in our city, seeing a sports team and how their fans follow them. They got two pro teams: the NHL Predators hockey team, and they've got the Titans. So it's cool seeing that, and when they see a Browns thing, they give us respect because they know that we've been struggling. So
we've been struggling,
yeah.
And what kills me is you see a team like the Houston Texans. They come back into the NFL 3 years after the Cleveland Browns, and they're already 8-1 this season, man. So these guys knew how to build a football team. It goes to show you, Randy Lerner, he puts his trust in Mike Holmgren. And I got to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, the butt cheek prints are still in Randy Lerner's couch cushion, and Mike Holmgren is already talking about he wants to coach the Dallas Cowboys. How about that, Joe? At a press conference when Holmgren was going to hire Pat Shurmur, the question was asked, why don't you coach? And he said, my coaching days are over. He's getting paid $8 million a year to perform for the Cleveland Browns, yet his feet were too good to touch the turf in the Cleveland Browns stadium, man. So what do you think of this guy wants to coach the Dallas Cowboys, man?
I mean, he's always had, obviously he's a Super Bowl coach, but I don't, I agree with you, LG. I don't understand, if Shurmur was struggling, or in that year when Mangini was having problems to come up on a field, if they were going to let him go earlier than finish out the season. I don't see why he didn't come down here to to coach. But to go to Dallas and say that, and their coach is not even fired yet. I mean, if those,
well, you know what? These guys have the ability to get coaches fired too.
Yeah.
When a guy like Gruden, Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, or Mike Holmgren speaks up, you can lose your job just
Sure.
on them guys saying something. And I don't think that's fair. Do you, Christine?
No, I don't.
It stinks, especially with a guy that wouldn't get off his butt to go down and help the Cleveland Browns when he was getting $8 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's paying you $8 million to do something, would you give it 110%?
I give you it 150%.
See that?
There you go.
There you have it, folks. Christine knows how to get the job done. And, you know, Joe, what's your take on the situation? Joe Banner comes in as the new team president. Mike Holmgren is absolutely out. And now they came forward last week and they're saying we're going to give 7 games to Brandon Weeden before we evaluate him. He's got 7 games left to prove himself, man. Do you think this guy's capable of being an NFL quality quarterback that will lead the Browns to a winning season?
Good question, LG. I think watching Brandon quarterback this year, as much as have you seen me write up comments and stuff that I would have loved to seen Colt still quarterback this team because he's had the experience, but to push a rookie through like he did, I mean, he's got a great arm, and there ain't no doubt about that, but it doesn't matter, I guess, at that point. But all matters how you read defenses and how accurate you are. And that was the question I was concerning for him was when he started quarterback and was being a starting quarterback was how well he's going to adjust to the game speed and how he's going to be able to read defenses. And at sometimes he picks up well, but sometimes when I look at him, and granted, the first game I saw was last week live when they played the Ravens last Sunday at the stadium. But
were you down there, Joe?
Yeah.
And what I was unbelievable, you know, what shocked me was the minute he feels a little pressure, he starts panicking a little bit, man.
Yeah, he gets the feet are bouncing around. But the thing that I see on TV from watching the games from where I'm at and watching the first game live since he's quarterback, since I've been able to have a chance, was he just zooms in on one receiver. He's like a deer in the headlights, and he's just he's looting on one receiver. And defenses see that, and they come over and they double team up onto like say Gordon or Little or something, and they see him looking at him. But his passes, he tries to force them in, and he doesn't look off well. I think he's got to look better and more comfortable in the pocket because he is a pocket passer. But he also has to be, from what I see, is try to get his reads quicker and try to get his not staring down on one receiver. That's the weak points that I see from him.
Well, he's got 7 games. We're going to see what he can do, and hopefully he's going to pull it off, or we're going to get a great draft pick. And really, LG feels right now, let's get the great draft pick. We got 7 games left. We're 2-7 right now. That means, you know, we're 9 games into the season, 7 games left to go. Let's go for the draft pick. Let's get another guy that's going to be a playmaker and hopefully regroup. And as much as this pains me to say, regroup for next year. It's always next year with Cleveland franchises. Hopefully the Cavaliers aren't going to lead us down that path, Christine.
Hopefully not.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we said earlier in the show, this is Christine Slomberg. And Christine Slomberg runs an organization, her and her husband, Stuart,
Yes.
run the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. What the Slomberg Charitable Foundation does is completely unbelievable. How these people got involved, what they do, what they're trying to accomplish, and this is more godlike than anybody can imagine. Christine, tell us a little bit about what the Slomberg Charitable Foundation is.
Well, my husband Stuart and I started the Slomberg Charitable Foundation a few years ago. And the whole premise of it actually was based on a promise that my husband made to a family down in Coventry, in Ohio, the Janik family, about 35 years ago now. Back then when my husband was a teenager, he became homeless, and the Janik family had taken him in the sense of providing a meal at their dinner table, providing them a warm place to stay every now and then, and really just being there, providing a huge impact on him. And he often wanted to say thank you to the family, but Mr. Janik had kind of told Stuart at the time, you know, someday, you'll be able to make that impact. And so just make sure to pay it forward. That is how you can thank me. And that's been something that's been a part of our lives for many, many years. And we talked about it a little bit over the years and figuring out how exactly we can make that impact. We volunteered with charitable organizations. I've been in the nonprofit world for well over 25 years and always trying to make the difference in somebody's life. But a few years ago, my husband became Santa Claus for the Cleveland Clinic Children's Rehab holiday party. And I went ahead and I called him one day because our Santa Claus had come down and he was sick. And it was one of those conversations where it was, honey, guess what you're doing on Sunday? And he's like, what? And I go, well, you need to be Santa Claus. So he's like, sure, not a problem. And he hung up the phone, called me back and go, I'm doing what? I'm the big guy?
He thought you were kidding, right?
He thought I was kidding, yes, he did. But after seeing those kids, a lot of those kids who went to the holiday party, they can't go to the mall because it takes 10, 15 minutes to get out of the wheelchair. It takes the family to unstrap them, or they can't stand in line and be able to meet the Santa Claus type of mall person. So we put together this holiday party. My husband was the Santa Claus for it, and we walked away with that. He looked at me and said, that's it. We got to do something. Like, I'm done. We have to do something more than just showing up at the holiday party. We have to do more than what we're doing. So we put together our family foundation based on the premise of granting wishes, trying to make that impact for families and children and making a difference in everybody's life as much as we can.
And I'll tell you, folks, these wishes aren't your typical little kid wishes either. These are wishes that are for necessities to get these children through life. But Joe, being the great Christian guy that you try to be, really, what does the Bible even say about something like this, man? I mean, her husband was homeless. These people took him in. God always wanted people to help other people out, right?
Amen. Yeah, Larry. I believe that what this world needs to do is start to be more not centered on themselves, people-wise, and start helping other people. There are people that are worse off, and kids, and even, like you say, homeless people out there. And just to give a hand, or even just to be able to give them anything to be able to make their day, put a smile on their face. That's just, God sees that.
And that's the way God wanted it, man. He tells you to love thy neighbor, I mean, and her husband being homeless as a teenager, nothing to eat, they brought him in, they gave him dinner every night. It definitely left the kind of impact that God was talking about, man, and more people need to start doing that. So, Christine, just tell us, I mean, the holiday season's coming. We're in full swing. It's already November 12th. We're just, weeks away from Christmas. But it doesn't even have to be Christmas to get involved with the Slomberg Charitable Foundation, does it?
No, not at all.
Tell us.
No.
Tell us how it works.
Actually, what we've done is we've gone to the Cleveland Clinic Children's Rehab Hospital, and we've asked the kids, primarily who are outpatient, to put together or answer the question, I wish I may, I wish I might. We just held an event this past Saturday in raising funds to grant these wishes, but I have to tell you, LG, these wishes just break your heart. They really do, because to your point, and I know that you and I have talked about this, they're not trips to Disneyland. They are communicational devices, and they're iPads, and they're, I think I have one for a Hello Kitty boombox. I have, just very simple things just to make themselves just feel like a kid for one day.
I was fortunate enough, God puts things on your path, folks, what you can handle, what you can't handle, and he seems to put the right people in the right places at the right time. It's all part of his master plan. He knew this centuries ago, if I'm not mistaken, Joe. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And somehow he put Christine on LG's path. And
that's a good thing.
It's a great thing, but I'm kind of a soft guy, believe it or not. And when I see a kid that is sick or injured, or I find an injustice that somebody, it really digs at me, man. And I say, you always question, why does this happen to children, or why does this happen to anybody? But it's even worse when it happens to a child. you know, where I see the finger. We got 1 minute before the break. But I got to tell you, people, you got to get involved with this. I mean, why shouldn't people come together and help people out, especially children, and not children that are looking to go to a Cleveland Browns football game, not children that want to go to Disneyland. You know, you drive down the street, you see kids playing outside. These are children that will probably never, ever participate in a sporting event, playing a sport. I mean, people take that for granted each and every day. Little kids start walking, they start running. We have a little child that was fortunate enough to get a bike that Christine's foundation put together, who was a guy that used to walk. He got an abscess on his spine. He ended up paralyzed from the waist down. He could no longer even go outside and walk behind his parents, man. I mean, what we take for granted every single day in life, these little children won't have in their life. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about the Slomberg Charitable Foundation and the work that they're doing. We're going to get into some of these wishes. And when you hear it, I definitely hope you people out there can get involved. Give us a call here if you have any questions. Christine will be glad to answer them for you. 216-672-4300. We'll be right back with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show on streamingsportstalk.com with Joe Monaco and Christine Slomberg in just a few minutes, folks.
Still sticks in my head. All the clothes you wore and the words you said, and every taste left in my mouth was bad, because I've lost my faith in the human race. I wanna go to a different place. I've lost my
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show right here on streamingsportstalk.com. Tonight, we're fortunate enough to have in-house Christine Slomberg from the Slomberg Charitable Foundation and Joe Monaco, all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. But don't worry, folks, he is a Cleveland sports fan, and Joe watches the games like a hawk when he has time, when he's not out there looking for a gig to play. He's been the drummer at his church before. You know, LG did a 6-year stunt at the Erie-side church on the drums, man. 6 years, never missed a gig, man. Every Sunday.
That's great.
Wow.
Every Tuesday. 6 years. We did a lot of homeless picnics too, man, and we were out there feeding the homeless people at 22nd by the Salvation Army. We did it every year until Pastor Reggie passed away with a 12-pound tumor on his kidney. Can you believe it?
No.
Unbelievable. Yeah, LG got whacked pretty good that year. But anyways, we're back with Christine Slomberg from the Slomberg Charitable Foundations, and as she said, Saturday night she had a little get together to do things to raise the funds necessary, folks. These wishes don't come easy. It takes money, unfortunately, to get things done and to grant these children's wishes. So, Christine, go ahead and tell us some of these wishes you brought with you.
Well, actually, LG, I wanted, real quick, you had mentioned the bike before the break.
Right.
So I wanted just to talk a little bit about that.
Talk about whatever you like to talk about.
Okay, good. On Saturday, we had a wonderful, wonderful thing happen. And it took a lot of effort, which started out as an idea from my husband and I. When we ended up bringing in other companies. My husband works for Roadrunner Sports. They're based out in San Diego. And out in San Diego, they do have brick and mortar stores all over the United States. But within Roadrunner Sports, they have an organization called Athletes Helping Athletes. And in that particular organization, they actually grant wishes or grant requests to children who are in need of bikes. So with the conversation my husband and I had, we went to the chief runner, Mike G., and talked to him a little bit about what we were looking to do. And he got so excited that through Athletes Helping Athletes, that's how we were able to get the bike to that little boy, is through them. So I can't think, it's more than just my husband and I. It took a group of individuals. It took a wonderful, wonderful company like Roadrunner Sports and Athletes Helping Athletes. And together we ended up working with Invacare. And through the help of Invacare, who put the bike into quick production, because these bikes are handmade, it takes well over 6, 8, 10 weeks sometimes to put these bikes together. They put it in quick production, shipped it off, put it on a semi, and it showed up on my front door. So we were able to present it to a little boy on Saturday.
Now, Christine, I don't want to get personal, but what does an apparatus like that cost?
Those can start anywhere from about $1,800 to $5,000.
See that, ladies and gentlemen? $1,800 to buy a bike, to get a kid the ability to follow his parents down the street. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, folks, and this is where you come into play. Just think, if every American sent $1 to the Slomberg Charitable Foundation.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
$1. We're blowing money on things like cigarettes, drinks, beer, booze, you name it. $1 to go help a kid who's sick, to be able to have the ability to go down the street and follow his parents. $1 to give a kid, one of the biggest gifts that really blew me away, Joe, an iPad, because then these kids can communicate with their doctors, their parents, their therapists. Some of these kids don't have the abilities to communicate like we do, and they need these devices to help them communicate, Joe. I mean, how much? It's $500 for an iPad.
That's correct, yeah. I mean, I believe that that's a great tool, a great instrument for a child to have, learning and growing and whatever needs that they may use through it to communicate with somebody else. But I believe that that's a great invention for them, and being able to use technology like that today.
One of the gifts I thought was kind of neat was a little girl needed a desk with a table on it, right? Is that the one that I sponsored? Was like a little thing so she could learn, so she could sit up in a position to be able to learn. I mean, people, come on. What if you can't even learn because you can't even stay in the position that you need to learn from? I mean, pick up those phones. Give us a call here, 216-672-4300. Find out how you can help. We're going to give you the information. We have the Slomberg website on our video here. We're going to send you to that website. We're going to show you how you can get involved. You can send donations 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's that convenient, isn't it, Christine?
Yes, it is. Right on our website.
We're going to get into some of these kids' wishes. We're going to give the microphone to Christine, and I wouldn't even be able to read all the wishes. I'd probably start getting choked up. But go ahead, Christine. Tell us what we got here.
Well, the first one we have is Chucky. There's wishes. I wish I may. I wish I might have an iPod and app to use it for a communication device so I can use my words. But what's interesting, though, LG, is that this his PT had put together a little backstory of Chucky, and I wanted to share that.
Now, let's talk about what is a PT, a physical therapist,
yes,
right? Because just in case people are out there wondering. you know.
Yes. Well, these are the individuals that are working with these kids day in and day out. They know exactly what they need, and they also know exactly what tools are needed for these kids to be able to succeed, to be able to communicate. Before the iPad was ever invented, ever thought of, there was hospitals, and parents would look into their insurance company and would also apply for grants to be able to purchase these very large-based equipment items. They were huge. They were $2,000, $3,000 a piece. And so with the invention and all of this great technology, therapists and parents are finding out that these very simple devices that we use to watch movies, play games, send emails, conduct business can also be used to be able to help these kids communicate. So it's unbelievable. But I wanted to share this story a little bit about Chucky. Chucky is a sweet, smart, charming 3-year-old little boy who has always given his best in speech and occupational therapy. He presents with characteristics of a severe speech problem and has been working very hard to learn his first word. His understanding is within normal limits, so some days are very hard when he has so much to say but no way to get it out. His mother is wonderful. She brought him faithfully to each session and worked so very hard with him every day at home. Recently, his insurance plan changed, and they will no longer be able to cover his speech therapy after they said they would. And they also have denied him from getting a communication device that he previously was approved for. It would be an amazing gift if Chucky could get an iPad with a communication app for him so that he would be able to express his great ideas. When participating during therapy, he was beginning to put together words and phrases, and now he has no way of getting his words out. The family is most generous and humble at your consideration for this most generous gift. So.
And look at this, folks. Chucky. I mean, I'm sure we had it online for you to see, but Chucky wrote the front and the therapist wrote the back. That's just one wish, folks, an iPad so he can communicate. Listen to us right now. We're talking. We're hearing, we're acting normal. Joe, a lot of people get mad at God in situations like this, man. Tell us what God really expects us to do as human beings, man.
I'll tell you what, I mean, you just got to keep, it's a thing called faith. And I think sometimes, again, you hear these words, love, faith, patience in the Bible. And I think that, you know, as the first person that says, why, you know, that is the first person to blame is God. God, why'd you make me this way? But you know, there's a reason behind all these things that we don't see, but he sees. And I believe that the main thing is faith and just trust in him. And it just, you have to put all your, you know, your faith and your prayers in him. And he can change anything in anybody's situation in a split second.
But one thing God wants us to do is come together as a race and take care of some of these situations. He's said, help your neighbor, help your loved ones, you know, love thy neighbor like you love yourself, you know, love them like you love me. I mean, this is where America or the world needs to come together and stop the bullshit, man. Excuse my language. You know, we need to take care of one another, man. I mean, we can't always be bickering and starting wars. And the money we spend on wars, I mean, one army tank would take care of how many iPads? It's astronomical. Mm-hmm. But keep going. We have another wish here. Who's this one from, Christine?
This is actually from Bree. This one I wanted to share because it's really quite interesting. She says, "Hi, my name is Bree. I'm turning 12 in July. I wish to be more independent with eating. I wish for an eye-hand cutting board and knife." And what's interesting is this, and LG, I'll give this one for you to put up, is on the back of it, she put a picture of herself, and she drew herself as an amputee, but she's smiling. I mean, that's what's so amazing about these children, is that they're not sad. She's not crying. She's smiling. She's happy. And
look
she
at that picture,
the word hi,
folks.
And there's hearts all over it and everything. And to wish for a cutting board and a knife just so she can be in.
Just so she can feed herself.
Yes.
Another thing we take for granted. I mean, picking up food and putting in your mouth is a big job for some of these kids, folks. Why we would stand by as Americans and watch this happen and not extend a helping hand is beyond me. It's real easy to do. We're gonna get you in touch with the Christine, with the Slomberg Charitable Foundation in a little bit. We'll give you the information.
I had to say a joke, man. Everything's so serious. Can you repeat what you just said right before you said we're going to take a break? Like eating? Say that again.
You're funny, Ken.
I was just gonna say it doesn't look like it's too hard for you.
Not for me, but I'm saying, can you imagine some little kid?
I had to put it in, man. Y'all about to make me cry, man.
Well, there's a good reason for it, man.
Yeah, it's sad. This is sad.
That's why you don't have any kids yet.
Right.
You don't know what it is to be a parent and have that bond, and then people don't really understand the burden of taking care of people that are this ill, you know, and how much help they really need just to get by and survive day in and day out. We have another one before the break.
This is from Quinn. I wish for a remote control car, Dodge Charger if possible. And he drew a little Dodge Charger, little remote control car. But Quinn is an 8-year-old boy who has previously had surgery to remove brain tumor. He was left with some motor skill coordination delays. His family recently found out that his tumor has returned, that he will have to undergo chemotherapy treatments. Quinn and his family continue to have the most positive outlook on life and always keeps a smile on their faces. It would mean a great deal for Quinn to have his wish granted. That's what I mean, LG. I mean, there's a lot of happiness and a lot of joy, and it's a very good, positive thing.
It's just amazing. I mean, a brain tumor, obviously, when you go into somebody's skull and you touch certain parts of the brain, how careful you have to be. But a tumor knows no boundaries in the brain, and it infiltrates different areas. And when they go to dissect that, unfortunately, like you said, he loses his motor skills. And the unfortunate part is this tumor's reoccurrence is coming back. And some of these kids, as bad as I don't want to say this, aren't going to, unless a miracle comes into their lives, they're not going to be with us for as long as we've been here.
Right. Well, that's why granting these wishes is so important, because it really makes a difference.
Unbelievable. I mean, when you hear of a recurrent brain tumor, it doesn't bring joy and happiness to me, because I know what the end result is of that terrible disease. And until the government gets on track with stem cells and everything else, it's going to be something. Let's take a call before we'll postpone the break. I believe we have Stu. I can't even say it. It's like a tongue twister. Stuart Slomberg.
Yep.
You can't say Stu Slomberg, but you can say Stuart Slomberg. Hi, Stu. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're hanging in there.
Well, it's 65 degrees in San Diego. I thought I'd give you a weather update.
Oh, thanks, Stu.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But anyways, this is Stu Slomberg on the phone, Christine's husband, who helped start actually they started it together, the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. Stu, have you been able to tune into the show tonight out there in San Diego?
Yeah, actually, I'm streaming live in my office here, so I really appreciate helping us get the word out to make some of these wishes come true. Certainly, we went last year from, Christine, what do you think? We had maybe about 40 wishes last year?
Yeah, 40 to 50 wishes.
Yeah, now over 120. And
tripled in one season.
Yeah, one season.
Unbelievable. So, Stu, really, did you think something like this was going to take off as much as it has, or are the needs just growing so fast that it's getting harder and harder to keep up with every year?
Well, I think that it's a combination of things, and one thing that I've learned with the families is they get frustrated because they really want to help their child and give them everything that they need to give them some normalcy in their life. And they find it frustrating because of different things between the insurance companies and what they'll cover, what they won't cover, different foundations that try to help them but then run out of funding. So they find that a lot of doors just get shut. So where we come in is where, example, the young boy Arshawn, who received the bike Saturday night. They had applied for a bike a couple of years ago, and then we're told months later that that foundation had run out of funding. So that does happen, and they really had given up on trying to get Arshawn a bike, and then we were able to come in and actually make that happen. And to them, I mean, for him to be free again, to be able to...
Let's expound on that a little bit, Stuart. We want our viewers to know this is not a bicycle that this little guy is going to jump on, sit in a seat, and pedal with his legs either. We want to tell you this is a bike that needs to be pedaled with your arms, folks, because the little boy has no working legs. So don't think for 1 minute that this is a bicycle that you can run down the street to Walmart and pick up. You cannot do it, folks. This is a specially made piece of equipment that he can pedal with his arms. At the same time, he's working his upper body to give him the strength he needs to wheel himself around in a wheelchair, right?
Yes, that was his actual wish. He wanted the bike so he could go outside and ride with his dad and his brothers and his mom and his sister, and also so he can make his arms stronger for his wheelchair.
Now, Stuart, obviously you were touched as a teenager by somebody extending a helping hand to you. Can you tell us and our viewers what that meant to you, man?
Well, it saved my life. To be at that age, and I won't get into the details of why it happened and bore everybody with that, but the fact of the matter is that it did. And to be in a situation at that age, and you would think, a lot of times you just assume that the school will get involved, or somebody else is going to help that person. Well, you know what? I was very fortunate because that somebody else just so happened to be the Janik family, and they really positively impacted me and really kept me on the right path, and just really gave me things that just in necessities and the bare essentials basically, but they made sure that I didn't go hungry. And the place where I stayed, I had no heat. It was like a bomb shelter, and when I was cold, I was able to go over there and warm up. And I also got love and support, and which is huge when you're in that situation. And for Mr. Janik to tell me someday you'll be in a position, Stu, to pay it forward, I thought, okay, well, that sounds really nice, but I highly doubt if that'll ever happen. But it really gave me the drive and the energy to step up and do what I could over the years to be able to positively impact kids. And now Christine and I we're so blessed and we're so fortunate, and we've surrounded ourselves and continue to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals who just want to positively impact one child at a time. And last year, LG and Joe, we had a wish from, I believe his name was Bobby. All Bobby wanted was soccer socks to wear so that his braces would not hurt his legs.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
and
man.
Of course, we granted that wish, but it's so simple. But these children, they just want some normalcy for a little bit. And if I could comment on those bikes, they're hand cycles, and they're an adaptive bike. So anybody that's they're able to, they have the use of their arms, and they can utilize that bike, and they're able to do stop with it, and they get that freedom. And we had a athlete that Immacare sent to the event on Saturday night, and he told Christine and myself that the first time he was able to get on a bike, he's a paraplegic, the first time he got on one of those adaptive bikes and felt the wind hitting his face, he was by himself. Nobody had to push him. It was just freedom.
Another thing, I mean, nobody even knows. Amazing. Nobody even knows what that feels like because we're able to do it. These people aren't able to do it. Now, Stuart, if somebody didn't extend a helping hand to Stuart Slomberg many years ago, do you feel you'd be in a position you're in today to help somebody, man, or do you feel it could have been your demise?
Had somebody not stepped in, LG, I wouldn't be here. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. So I'm extremely fortunate that somebody did. That is not always the case for a lot of these children, and that's why we do what we do, and every day we do our very best to positively impact as many as we can, professionally and personally. And with the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital, the staff there is amazing. These children are just, they own my heart. That's the best way I can describe it. And I did Santa Claus for a number of years there, and I love these kids, and just want to be able to grant as many wishes as we can. Hopefully this year, with everyone's help, and especially your help, LG, we've got a very good chance this year of granting every single wish that was given to us.
Well, don't worry about it, Stuart. It's been my pleasure, and I'm going to keep on the bandwagon. I hope you don't mind me interfering in your charitable foundation, but when I see a cause like this that really reached out and grabbed my heart, I can't back away, man. I have to do what I have to do to make sure that we could help you in any way possible. And I've told Christine this numerous times. I'll be there for you. I'll do what I can, and we'll keep driving this thing forward, because I know next year it's going to be 250 wishes. It's never going to stop growing. The need is there. And with the way the world's going right now, for people to come together and start helping out and putting something forward, it's a huge thing. And we better start doing it now, man. People don't realize what's coming in the future.
That's very true, LG.
Well, the kids thank you.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I don't even need any thanks. I just know that maybe I can make a slight difference in somebody's life, and it could be a positive thing. I get a little bit like, that's enough of that. I'll talk to you later, Stuart.
All right, thanks. Thanks, you guys.
All right, man. God bless you, man. There you have it,
Yep,
folks.
God bless you.
If somebody didn't reach out and help Stuart Slomberg, he wouldn't even be here today, let alone married to this beautiful lady next to us. And it's amazing the things that they're doing together. So Christine has another wish. Keep going. We're running out of time here tonight. We got about 5 more minutes. Let's get as many of these wishes out there as we can.
Okay, well, this is Colton. I'm 16-year-old. I have cerebral palsy. I have difficulty using my right arm and legs. I also have a hard time reading small print. I would wish for a Nook. This would help me to be able to enlarge the text of the books I choose to read. I would also be able to read books that were given to me in school classes without them being so heavy or difficult time turning the pages. I would appreciate this gift very much. This is from Rachel. I wish for an iPad. I really like this one. It's quite colorful.
Very colorful.
Yeah, it's very colorful. And it says, to help me become more bright. I think that's just amazing. And I'm not sure exactly how old Rachel is, but I thought that one was absolutely...
We probably have that up on the site right
yes,
now.
Yes, you do. Yeah. And there's Brandon. I would like to remote control airplanes so I can fly my airplane. Thank you.
There you have it, folks. These kids, they're not asking for trips to Disneyland. They're not asking, let me go to a rock concert. They want to go to school and they want to learn something. They need socks to cover the leg for the braces. Joe, what do we have to do? Is there a pray? I mean, what do we have to pray? I mean, what? Tell us, man. What's going to get people together to help a foundation like this, man?
Prayers always help. I think unity's even better. I think when people are unified on one accord or are leaning towards where everybody's agreeing in principle, I believe the power of prayer is always powerful.
There you have it. And the more people that come together and pray for something, the better off you are. God really likes it when you pray. More people that pray, the more he listens, even though he listens. Now, Christine, the most important thing is, how do people get a hold of Christine Slomberg in the Slomberg Charitable Foundation? Let's say somebody's out there, they want to make a donation. And don't forget, folks, every little dollar helps. These things don't come cheap. You can, any amount of money at all, right?
Yes. Yep.
Tell them what they have to do.
Well, we have a website that you can go to that you can donate on. It's the Slomberg Charitable Foundation, www.slombergcharitablefoundation.org. You just go on there, and there is a place for you to donate. And also, too, I wanted to mention, LG, is that a lot of these kids, like we had talked about before, needed iPads and laptops and communication devices. And there is a need. If you do have a used laptop or if you do have a used iPad, maybe you've been upgraded to, what is it, version 5 now? I don't even own one, so I don't know what version we're on. But if you have one that you're kind of sitting in the closet doing nothing, we do have a company down in Akron that currently has been very, very generous. It's a Group Management Services and Keystone Technology Consultants. They have donated 5 laptops with operation systems, and they've also agreed to kind of refurbish, kind of clean up, and so that we can put those together and get those to the kids as well. So there's 2 different ways you can go about doing it, but we would love all the support and help you can give these kids.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's real easy. You go on the Slomberg Charitable Foundation website. It's Slomberg, SLOMBERG, charitablefoundation.org. You look up Christine Slomberg's phone number on there. Her contact information is on there. Let's say you have a used laptop, you have a used iPad. If you can't get it there somehow, Christine will make arrangements to come and pick it up some way or somehow, won't you?
Yes, I will. Be happy to do that.
So you go on the Slomberg Charitable Foundation.org. Again, that's S as in Sam, LOMBERG, Charitable Foundation.org. Find the contact information. Get a hold of Christine if you have a used piece of equipment you want to donate, and we will somehow make arrangements to get that from you. They'll have it refurbished, and they'll give it to one of these little wishers. Another thing, every major credit card is accepted at the Slomberg Charitable Foundation.org. Any denomination that you can afford to donate would be much appreciated. You don't have to think, I can't give $100. Go there and give $1.50. You'd be glad to have it, wouldn't you?
I'd love to have $1.50.
Whatever you can afford. Break a bad habit for one day of the week and donate it to the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. Joe Monaco, give me a prediction. 7 games left for the Cleveland Browns. How many are we going to win?
3.
3 games. Joe Monaco is saying the Browns will end at 5-11, the same as Eric Mangini. What do you think? Shermer back next year or gone?
Gone.
What do you think of the Cavs, man?
They're going to make an A spot in the playoffs, I believe. They're going to snag it.
You're going to go home tonight and write a little article on the Facebook to tell people to get to the Charitable Foundation and help these little kids?
Yes.
There you have it, folks. It touched Joe Monaco's heart. It touched LG's heart. If you want to help out, get on there. Look up the Slomberg Charitable Foundation. Again, SLOMBERG, charitablefoundation.org. Please, we're pleading with you. Give her a donation. Let her grant some of these wishes. They just don't stop coming in, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. Help a child that's sick. Nothing more painful than that. We'll see you back here Friday night with more shows. The You Gotta Be Freaking Kidding Me show, Kenyon Johnson, pound for pound boxing, and drag racing, the ultimate sport. Don't forget, folks, Saturday from noon to 1 o'clock, the only show of its kind in the world, the Sports Outreach Ministries with Bishop Abu Hezekiah Mujahideen and the pastor, Elder David Simmons.
And I wanted to put this in also, LG. The new look Unsportsmanlike Conduct show next Monday, 8 p.m.
The new look with the new tunes. God bless you. Don't forget, Slomberg, charitablefoundation.org. Look it up. Please help these kids. Christmas is right around the corner. It doesn't even have to be Christmas. Let's do it, and let's do it right now, folks. God bless you. We'll see you next Monday night with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show right here, streamingsportstalk.com. Thanks for coming down, Christine Slomberg, Slomberg Charitable Organization Foundation.org, and Joe Monaco all the way from Memphis. It's been my pleasure having you. Good night. We'll see you next week.